everybody, here's your answer video. So your question was, if you use a small diffuser or a let me stop moving the mouse. If you use a small diffuser or a softbox on an on-camera flash pops up from or mounts directly on the camera body to make a head and shoulders portrait, what will the light quality be and why? If you use the same diffuser to photograph a piece of M&M candy, what will the light quality be and why? First, let me tell you the answer, and then I will offer you support, and then I will tell you everything that I was making sure you included in your answer. So, here's the answer. The light quality will be different between the portrait and the M&M. Remember, we've learned in our lecture and in the book that it is the size relative to the subject matter, the size of the light source relative to the subject matter that makes all of the difference in whether or not the quality of the light is hard or soft. So, an on-camera flash, even with a diffuser, is small compared to a person, even if you're just shooting their head and shoulders. So that's going to cast harder shadows, even with the diffuser on it. It won't be as hard as if the flash had no diffuser on it, but it's still going to be pretty darn hard compared to the M&M. Why? Well, the M&M is a lot smaller relative to the size of the flash with the diffuser on it. So those shadows will be softer. Now, my answer assumes that there was no change between the distance of the on-camera flash and the portrait subject and the distance between the on-camera flash and the M&M, meaning, say, both images were shot from 5 feet away, okay? Now, if you change the distance of the on-camera flash from the subject in either scenario, if it was not exactly the same in each case, then the answer would be different. But here, the assumption is that the distance is the same. And thank you to all of you who pointed out that fact. That was very, very knowing of you. So now, let me show you where you can find support in the classroom. Light quality. I believe page 1, hard light, right here in the lecture. By the way, I don't write the lecture, so when you cite the lecture, you don't need to give me credit for it. AII is actually the author of the lecture. It's so flattering, but I didn't write it, so please don't make me the author. Anyways, right here, hard light is generated by a small light source relative to the subject. It is diffused, meaning we describe it as diffused. And then on page 2, soft light is generated by a large light source relative to the subject, and it is diffused. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Hard light is undiffused. We describe it as undiffused, and soft light we describe as diffused. So it's really about the relative size of the light source compared to the subject. In the reading, right here on page 86, the text goes into great detail about this. Starting right here, the size of the light. And then there's some really great illustrations on page 87. We start with, when we have, this is a light, this is pretending to be a strobe or an incandescent light with a softbox on it. It's close to your subject, and that closeness makes it even bigger because it's closer, because the size is changed, let's say, as it gets closer to the subject, its relative size is bigger. So there's that, but then also the diffuser makes the light effectively larger as well. So here we can see that as light is coming out of the light that has a diffuser on it, that has a softbox on it, it's able to wrap around the subject, then causing softer gradiated shadows. On the next page, we've got a nice picture illustrating hard light. So it's the same light, but it's further away from the subject, which means it is effectively smaller. So it's not as big compared to the subject as it was when it was much closer, remember. So the light becomes harder. The light is not able to wrap around the subject in so many directions. The shadows are not as gradiated. Okay? So it can be confusing. So remember, you can change the size of a light by putting a diffuser on it. You can effectively make it bigger by putting a diffuser on it. You can also change the size of the light by changing its distance to the subject matter. And that is going to change the quality of the light. When you change the distance to the subject matter, the quality of the light will change. Always keep that in mind because this will trick with you in your studio. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so for your submissions, I was looking to make sure that you had, let's look, I mean, I think I have it all right here. I was looking to make sure that you had spelling grammar checked, of course, that your response was at least 150 words in length, not including the quote from the text. I was looking for an embedded quote from the text. Again, remember, we think it's really important that you read and digest this information, so we want you to apply it to your answers. We wanted you to cite the lecture, which is usually pretty easy to do. Just remember, I am not the author of the lecture. We want you to follow MLA guidelines for your citations and for your writing style. We want you to respond to 2 of your peers. And we want you to be respectful and to always bring up relevant points to this or previous week's discussions. It is not enough to respond to your peer, hey, good job, great answer, thanks. You really need to say something intelligent and relevant to this week or previous week's topics. And if you have to think for a while on it, then that's what you have to do. You also need to make sure that your initial response and your response to your peers is on time. There you go. That's everything that I'm looking for. So I will get back in here and give you guys some individual feedback after I post this. I just want to make sure I give you enough time to respond to all of your peers. I hope this video helps, and I hope you take the time to watch it. Thanks so much.